Okay, in this installation we will look into the process of installing a SQL Server 2008 on the Windows Server 2003 with Service Pack 2. Now in this my case I have SQL Server 2005 installed already on the SQL Server or on the Windows Server. I am going to go for a new installation. I am not going for the upgrade of the installation. But before the installation you should have a Microsoft.NET framework 3.5 installed on your computer, otherwise it will give you an error. In that case you need to have a SQL Server 3.5 the Microsoft.NET 3.5 Server Pack 1 installed before you are installing, or depending upon what your requirement of the SQL Server is to be installed on the computer. Otherwise it will give you an error and ask you to install that patch or .NET framework first. Now remember that thing, once you have installed it, reboot your computer, otherwise again it will give you an error depending upon the circumstances. Here is when once you have started the installation, you will see, if you can look at the first thing, that's planning. Okay, here is the hardware and software requirement. If you click any of these options, you can see that these will actually jump to the hyperlink in this. It will go to the net. If your internet is, if you are connected to the internet, but naturally it will jump to the internet. I will not actually look into these details as hardware and software installation, security documentation, online release notes, system configuration checker, installation upgrade advisor, online installation help, how to get SQL Server 2008 failover clustering upgrade documentation. All these things will actually take you to the internet link, nothing else. Okay, and then you will be going to the site, and depending upon that you can read whatever you want from that site. Now here is what we are going to look into. We are going to look into the SQL Server standalone installation. This is what we are going to do right now. And there is a new SQL Server failover cluster installation. Depending upon if you are looking for clusters, and add node to the SQL Server failover clusters. Again, upgrade the SQL Server 2000 or 2005 to 2008. Now remember that if you are trying to upgrade a SQL Server 2000 or 2005 to 2008, what will happen is that it will only upgrade those features that are available. It will not add the new features of the SQL Server 2008. Again, if you have to actually add those features after you have completed the upgradation, you will be adding those features after that. Remember that thing, otherwise those features will not show up on the SQL Server 2008 installation. Then there is a search for product update. You know that a SQL Server actually keeps on, Microsoft keeps on actually creating patches and other things. These you can look into the search for product updates. And there is a maintenance menu that say addition upgrade. Then again there is a, you can upgrade from the developer to the enterprise. Developer is the edition that where the software people usually use it for the development purpose only, and the enterprise edition is a full production version. Developer edition actually is very similar to the enterprise edition only, but the only difference is that with the developer edition you cannot use it for the production purpose at all. Otherwise it is a full-fledged version of the enterprise. And again there is a repair. In the case something has gone wrong with your SQL Server, then you can move to the repair option. As you can see, then remove node from the SQL Server failover cluster. Again there was an option to add a node to the SQL Server failover cluster. Then again there is a remove node from SQL Server failover cluster. Okay, these are the other maintenance tools, maintenance and a system config checker. If you are not very sure about whether your system would be supporting the SQL Server 2008 installation or not, you can use a system config checker, install SQL Server feature discovery report. Again these are the things, again you have to look into those details. Right now we are not going to look into those details. Upgrade integration packages, service packages. Okay, again it is like installation of the SQL Server upgradation up from 2005 to 2008, nothing more than that thing. Resources, again you are going to the online wherever you are actually want to go. Here it is. Then there is the advanced install based on the configuration file. Okay, in the case if you already installed and you have created a config file, then you can actually use this option, advanced cluster preparation, advanced cluster completion. Again depending upon the data for the clusters only. Again now this is the x86 x64 Itanium 64. Now this is the x64 machine, though this hardware can support 64, but this is the x86 operating system, so this is the other options have been disabled. only x86 is available. Of course this hardware doesn't support Titanium 64 otherwise, and but this thing is again the x64 would be supporting it, but the operating system is 32-bit, so it is going to be x86. Okay, x86 is 32-bit operating system, and then 64 is 64-bit, and 60, Titanium a little bit faster still, depending again upon the hardware, nothing else. Okay, now let's go to the move to the installation and standalone installation. I'm going to go for the standalone installation. As you can see, we are looking to the standalone installation, and it's going to start within a matter of, before it installs it will be checking for the features. Okay, here it is. It says wait while SQL Server setup processes the current operation. Well and good. What is doing is checking up the other things that what already has been installed on my SQL on my Windows Server, and what other SQL Server features have been installed, whether the SQL Server 2008 has been installed, other things depending upon that criteria and other things, looking for the hardware, the memory, and etc. Depending upon all those things, it will put up the. I have to look into the others. It had failed to restart the computer and it did not move ahead. I hope in this case it doesn't work that way. In this time it works very well. Now of course it is going to take some time. There we are. It's running on the checking the rules in progress and etc etc, and now it has and it says view detailed report. Let me go and check it. If I view the detailed report, or if I want to show the details etc. Okay, here it is. It says passed. I can save this thing if I want. Here it is. Everything has been passed here, as you can see. So I can go SQL Server registry keys are consistent, and you can support a SQL Server installation etc etc. All these things have been okay. Now I can close this thing down. If I want, I can go and say show details. Here is a minimum operating system version passed. Again, it depends upon the operating system whether this is whether it is XP, because Windows SQL Server 2008 supports the XP version. It supports the Vista, it supports the Windows 7 and many other, of course Windows 2003 and Windows 2008, but it doesn't support the Windows 2000. Remember, it doesn't support any version of Windows 2000. Okay, now I am going to click OK, and we are going to move to the next. It is doing some processing, and we will be shown up with some screen, and then we can look into the details what's happening. Okay, here it would actually specify, ask whether it specify a free edition depending upon the what are your circumstances, express edition or whatever features you want. You can okay, you can specify the free evaluation edition. Okay, remember that thing. This doesn't have a development edition. Development edition is not free. It will cost you around $150 to $200, whatever it may be, but it is not free. Okay, remember that thing. Only express edition, which is usually free. Enterprise evaluation edition, you can use it. It will run for 60 days, depending upon whatever time it is required. Okay, So just hold on for a minute, and I may put a enterprise product key or standard product key or whatever it is development, and I will move to the next later, and I cannot show it you the product key in this case. Okay, here is the I accept the license terms, etc., etc. You can do whatever you can say and move to the next one depending upon whatever you have selected. Now here it is the product key, license term, setups, the supports file. Now remember that thing, this is only a lab version. We are not looking into the very sophisticated production version where we have to look into very high details. Before installation we have to check up everything, whether the hardware supports the operating systems and other thing, the server pack and everything. We have to check it before. We would not like our system to crash in between the installation. That is not feasible for any of the organization. Okay, now let's, I hope the following components are required for the SQL Server setup. It will look into the details, and we will look, and it will give us the option to install, and we will install it. Okay, anyway it has got installed. We can actually, I don't think there was any requirement. Okay, here it is. I have clicked on the install, and it is running the install process, and it will take some time. In between I will pause this thing till it shows up something. Setting feature install state. There we are running the install process, and we are in between it performing Windows install action. Okay, it will take some time. That screen is gone, and we are actually moving towards the end screen. It is looking for some of the other details, and it will pop us up the screen the other details, looking into the what we want to install, and it will allow us, I think so, that should be the screen that should be coming up. What we want to install, it will give us the option to select them, and we can select those features what we need to install and leave the rest one. In this case we would be installing the most of the features. We would not be leaving the other features to the install later. But in your case, if you only want to install a SQL Server database and other things, you would be only installing the SQL Server database. If you want to install only the SQL Server integration services and other parts, you can go for it depending upon the client side and other things, depending upon those details. If you are installing a business development, okay, here it is. As you can see, the screen is coming up, and it says okay, what it is going to check up, setup supports rules. Okay, now it's going to doing all the checking up before actually trying to run the install. As you can see, setup support rules, it has its own rules. Okay, and if it is okay, it's run. Let's see what it has done. Does it allow me to go to the next? Yes, means that has been successful. I can move to the next. I'm going to look in the details. Only if there's something goes wrong, you look into the details. The next option would be dimmed. Next button would be dimmed, and then you are stuck up, and you have to rectify those problem and start the installation process from the very beginning again. Now here it is, what we have been waiting for. As you can see, and this is what we were waiting for. Now here are the features. Now this is the database features, as you can see. Now remember that SQL Server 2008 doesn't give you the sample database of the Adventure 2000. Neither does it give you any other database for the Adventure 2000, like to work with the data warehouse. Here it is. Okay, now this is, I am going to use the SQL Server for text analysis service. Yes, I need analysis service. Reporting service, definitely I need it. Again, shared features. Okay, now what does it mean by the shared feature is that if you are installing one or more than one instance of the SQL Server, then this would be a shared feature. Well and good, here it is a shared feature. Okay, this client connectivity tool, in this case I will select them, maybe in a later stage if I want to use it with the Visual Studio. Okay, here the integration services, I want the integration services. Client server backward compatibility, I don't want it. Okay, client server SDK also I don't want. Okay, here is the SQL server book online, management tools basic. Okay, I will have this thing. Clients SQL client connectivity SDK. Okay, I can skip it, but I will still put it there. Okay, and then Microsoft. Okay, include a Microsoft 6 Cronus framework, a comprehensive that enables the collaboration with our applications and services and devices. Well, good enough. Okay, now I have left the client and the backward compatibility in my case. Okay, here it is, and I am going to start the installation process. I'm going to click the next option, and now I've gone through the feature selection. Now it will look for the instance, whether the SQL Server instance I have actually installed already a SQL Server instance of 2008. If it's not, it will ask for the default instance or will ask to name the instance, and we will put the name of the instance. Then it will look to the depending upon the features I have selected, it will look for the disk space requirement, whether there is enough disk space. If it is there, then it will show me that this much space would be used and this much space would be free after the installation or process. And then we will go look into server configuration and database engine configuration and analysis service, error and usage reporting, and all those things will get automatically done. Don't worry about it at all. Now there the only thing is that should be naming the server, the default instance, or if you want to name the instance depending upon your requirement. Now remember that thing, there is no database installed for Adventure 2008. In this case, if you want, you can go and look for 2005 and upgrade it to 2008, or you can look for 2008 database somewhere on the net depending upon where it is. I have no idea where the Microsoft keeps the Adventure 2008 database. You have to Google it out and find out where it is. Now remember one more thing, that if you are using a database of SQL Server 2005 and are getting it attached to the 2008, again if you try to attach that database to the SQL Server 2005, it won't get attached. The database has been upgraded to 2008. So be careful that if you are trying to attach and detach a database of 2005 to 2008, then remember that thing, that database would not get attached back to the 2005. It will give you an error. It will say that the version problem is there, it belongs to a higher version, so you better keep an older version and you keep a newer version separately. You make a copy and then try to attach that database to the SQL Server 2008. This can lead you in a very bad experience if you are using it 2005 and 2008 and then you attach that database to the 2008, and then you try to figure out, okay, now I don't want to use it for SQL Server 2008 and I want to go back to the SQL Server 2005, and then you try to attach the database, boom, it doesn't get attached. Now this is what is usually known as a file compatibility problem in this, whether it is a Microsoft Windows or it is any other thing, it is Oracle or something. These people always actually create a problem that whenever they create a database, they upgrade it, and the problem is that it cannot never get attached to the, even though you have not changed any features, though you have not added, you have not used any of the new feature of the database, yes, definitely you cannot go back. Now hold on for a minute, let's start the process. Okay, here it is. It says What now you want to give Microsoft? Okay, name default name instance. Okay, MS SQL Server 2005. I am going to say I'm in 2008, and I can move to the next screen. It is showing these are full. I will leave most of the things as it is. I don't want to mess up with these things. If you want, you can actually look into the other details later. Here we are moving to the next screen. Okay, here it is. Next. Okay, here it is. It is asking for the name of the SQL server. What do you want to put it as? Okay, in this case I am going to, okay, here the account name it is asking. I am going to select the, here it is. I have selected the use the same, and I'm going to select the NT system. I'm going to click OK. In this case, here it is. As you can see, okay, this is what I have selected, and I can going to move to the next option. Here is the collation. Remember that thing, if you are installing the multiple instance of the SQL server, then better you know what the collation you have installed. You cannot have a two different type of collation on the SQL server. Even 2005 and 2008, you should have the same collation. Usually it would be Latin. Do not change this collation at all. Okay, here it is. Go to the next. As you can see, when we go to the next, we will be looking at a different screen. I hope so. Not for database engine config. Other things will come up, and we will look into the details when they come up. Okay, now I am going to use the window authentication mode. If somebody wants to use a mixed mode, that is the SQL server and the window authentication mode both, then they can select the mixed mode. In this case, because I am using a window authentication mode, I have left the radio button as it is. I am going to click add the current user here, which will add the current user to this, and then I can look into the data directories. Data directories are nothing but where these things would be get installed. Okay, hold on for a minute. Okay, here it is, this thing. Okay, user database. Whenever you are in the production version, remember that thing, you would be changing the user database directories, as this would not be the same place where you are installing the SQL server. It will be always a different drive or a different place you want to, where you want to keep the data, where you want to tempdb. Remember that tempdb is should never be kept on the same disk where you are using a data, because tempdb is used for actually temporary workout, and which is can create a lot of problems. Same thing when you create a tempdb, it also moves the temp log. Remember that thing, tempdb and temp log belongs to the same thing. User database and logs and directories would be going to the this thing drive. Logs you can put it in another drive if you want, depending upon all the requirements of your organization and what you want to do with the database, and where do you want to place the database, and where do you want to put the user database log file directory. Okay, here it is. Then we can go to the file stream. Okay, enable file stream. If you want, you can enable the file stream right now, then you can enable the stream later on. Allow remote clients to have the streaming access if you want. We can go and actually select this thing, enable allow remote clients. If we want, we can do that thing. In my case, I don't have remote clients, so actually I will leave it as it is. Okay, and I will move to the next. I can actually disable this thing and enable it later if I want. Next, and then we are going to the next screen now. Now if you can see that is say account provisioning. Okay, again add the current user only, unless the server administrator have unrestricted access to endless services. Well and good enough. Then I can go to the directories, data directories. Here it is. Now what data directory was going to do, we are going to look into those details, and once we look into those details, we would be there looking into the details more. Okay, looking into the requirements of your company, you would be actually moving whatever place you online analytical processing data and online analytical processing log, OLAP temp, OLAP back. Okay, this is for online analytical processing services. Okay, now I am going to move to the next. Okay, here it is. Install the native mode with the default configuration. Install the SharePoint integration mode. Install do not configure the services and remote. I am going to just stick to the first one. That's my requirement, and that should be okay. This is send the feedback to the SQL server, all that thing, and I'm going to leave it as it is. Next. Okay, previous release of the SQL server failed. No problems at all. I am just going to go ahead and install the SQL server. Okay, and we are going to look into the details later. Okay, what it means is that when I am going to say that previous release of SQL Server, because I have SQL Server 2008 installed, I'm just going to remove that SQL Server 2008 and come back to you. I'm just going to go back. Okay. Now there was a problem with the SQL server when we were checking that thing for the reporting, because we had the Visual Studio 2008 installed already, so it was giving a problem. In this case, I have removed the Visual Studio 2008 and it has passed. Okay, and I'm going to click to the next, and we are going to look for the installation of this process. Okay, here is the thing is ready to install the features it is going us. Now this is the last time it's going to show us what it's going to do, and I can always go and cancel it here if I don't feel like something has gone wrong. But in our case, we have gone through the little bit hurdles and we have reached the ending process, and we are going to say install, and we are going to move to the installation process. Literally, actually, Visual Studio 2008 should be installed after SQL Server 2008 has been installed. If you install a SQL Server 2000 Visual Studio 2008 previous to the SQL Server 2008, then it will give you a problem, as it gave me a problem right now. But I did uninstall the SQL Server, Visual Studio 2008, so it was okay. Now it's trying to install the SQL Server, and I will just pause this thing right now and get back to you once the installation process is finished. There you can see it is running the installation. As you can see, it will keep on going for some